All right. Good evening, folks. Today we'll be playing some Timeless. I have unfortunately decayed to 99th percentile Mythic. We'll see if I can get back in the top 1,000 or so. So deck-wise, mostly been playing Timeless Zoo, Rakdos Lurrus, and Geist combo, whatever you want to call it. Let's kick things off with some Timeless Zoo. I don't think this is the best deck, but it's really fun to play. It's any excuse I have to play Wild Nicottle, definitely going to take it. Let's do best of ones for now.
This is your rank. After each victory, it'll improve.
All right. Okay, so we are on the play with a Ragavan, which odds are it will not live. It's not tight. It's not tight magic. Okay. All right. I think we get rewarded here just a little bit for the mulligan. And we can throw away one of the 2-drops. All right, question is, how do we make most use of our lands here? So fetching up the proper colors is actually pretty difficult. So I have the colors. I don't think playing Ragavan on 1's a great play here anyway, because I can use this Flooded Strand to fetch the Mardu Triome, which gets me full domain, and I can still play a 1-drop with Wild Nicottle, so let's just shock in the Breeding Pool and play the Nicottle. It's a 1-1, but next turn I can get the Mardu land and attack for 3, and then hold up a Stubborn Denial as well. Okay. Now, question is, do I want to hold back the Nicottle to block the Ragavan? No, I don't think so. It is annoying, but... Okay, well, I wouldn't mind a few more lands, but at least my opponent did not get a playable. I do get the treasure token, though. Interesting. So I could just Tribal Flames the Kavu and attack for 3, although that is 5 damage and puts them to 6. Could just play my own Kavu, but then I can't play my Stubborn Denial. I could just load the board here. Let's just do this. My Kavu's bigger for now. Assuming they don't have another land, which... strong chance they do, they just need a swamp. Opponent opts to discard Lavinia. An interesting deck. I assume they get a black Triome. Take 5, down to 10. Hopefully they don't flood the board with 2 or 3 1-drops. There's 1. There's 2. I could attack with everything and see what happens. I don't really need to draw a card. Now he has his Deathrite Shaman going. Wouldn't be unheard of for me to die to a Tribal Flames here, I guess. Unfortunately, it's my only source of green mana. Is the blue land for Stubborn Denial. I could just Tribal Flames the Kavu and hold up Stubborn Denial. Or just play the Brawler past turn, hope for the best. Although if he has a Lightning Bolt for the Brawler, he attacks with 8 and then activates Deathrite Shaman 10. It's unfortunate, but I think I have to. It's a good use of both Tribal Flames and Stubborn Denial, I think. Okay, so he did have his own Tribal Flames. Alright, GG. Alright, we'll give this the second try. I don't think the deck is great. Honestly, my opponent might be playing the better domain deck. I'm not 100% sure. The lands are very finicky. The mana base in the deck I'm currently using is probably not great. There's probably room for improvement. I think it definitely needs a stomping ground. Currently don't have one in the deck. Okay. A few fetch lands. Alright, looks like they are probably just a Rakdos Luris burn deck, probably. Bowmasters can be kind of useless against them. So let's not play as if we have to cast this card. I have all my colors. The unfortunate part is I have to get a Triome at some point. I could... So if I fetch up like a Steam Vents here, it gets me my blue and I can play Ragavan on turn 1. I could fetch up a Temple Garden just to play the Wild Nacatl. Alternatively, I could fetch up a Sacred Foundry, play Ragavan on 1. And then a Greenland for Nacatl on 3/3. He has to use a removal spell against the Ragavan. Question is, do I want to go for the Steam Vents or the Sacred Foundry? Sacred Foundry, and then I can get the other Triumph to finish off my lands. It's actually a pretty difficult decision to make. It's a lot of pressure. Oh wow. We have to take a lot of damage off of our lands too. Alright, there is a removal spell there, but my opponents want to draw 2 more cards, refill their hand. Yep, and I'm at 8 before I start my second turn. And I have to take minimum 3 damage. Okay. GG. Alright, yeah. Deck not deck not performing very well. It is fun though. Alright, let's take a look at the mana base maybe. Alright, so this is the list I am currently using. We don't play Luris, so we can play Leyline Binding. This does enable you to stop certain combos. You can stop Omniscience. If they fumble on the Omniscience and they only have like 1 Atraxa and they whiff, it gives you something to kill the Atraxa. Is Leyline Binding where we want to be, or would we rather play something like Luris? And I mean, we don't need this Bloodbraid Elf at all. Lands. $21. We could just take down the Bloodbraid Elf. And then add a Stomping Ground. This could be worth it. Okay, opponent goes first. It's a fair hand. Champion of the Parish, except it's perished. I assume he'll have another zombie here. I don't think we'll get the free Bowmaster's ping. Okay, we get a that gets a decayed zombie, and then he gets a counter. Can't block. Will he use one of these to trade? Let's just see what happens here. Alternatively, I could lightning bolt the champion, attack with Ragavan, see if he wants to block here. And then this gives me a chance to just play a tap land and pass. Let's do that. Really? So I can take 2 here. They'll attack with the zombie, so I can get the zombie off the board as well. And then just before end step. Oh, he attacks with it. This is perfect, actually. So let's Bowmasters. I'll ping this. Block. Missing white for Kavu, which I have access to. I don't feel like trading Ragavan for a zombie token. Could be the play though. Just to not enable any other zombie antics. I'm not familiar with the zombie interactions at all. I think I've played up against this deck maybe 2 or 3 times on the ladder so far. Okay. I think we can just break out here and see what we get. Another Kavu is good. So we'll have this exile. And we'll get rid of one of these stubborn denials. Pretty easy block here. But he does have to take 10. I definitely need to improve on how I can play around with my mana. I don't think I'm selecting the right lands at all. Okay. Good draw. Just it is a graveyard here. I guess. Let's say I guess I could cast Tribal Flames there, but I don't think I have to. Okay. Not really any point. Because it sees the other one, sure. Okay, well, he does have blockers, although Breakout's quite good. Yeah, that's game. Okay. I don't feel like either of us was playing a tiered deck. Okay. Zoo is interesting, at least. We'll play another one with Zoo, and then we'll run it back with something else. Alright, on the play with Ragavan, some lands, Bowmasters, Binding, seems good to me. And technically, well, I don't have a green fetch, so I can't just get my basic forest for Nacatl on the following turn. But that's alright, let's just lead things off. I like leading off with turn 1 Ragavan, it forces the removal spell, and if they don't have it, I'm just that much more enabled. But I'm perfectly happy to go 1 for 1 here. Okay. I can get the blue, black, green land to Leyline Binding any flash threat my opponent could have. And I'll just attack with Ragavan, and I can Leyline Binding something. This could be the wrong move. He might just have an instant, but I feel like there is an opportunity for some type of flash threat here, to be entirely honest with you. I can save up Leyline Binding, I can wait for him to play his draw spell, and then I can Bowmasters. Opponent chooses to not play a draw spell though. Okay, well, I don't think I want to cast that. Not too excited about returning it to its owner's hand either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 4, 5. I want to hold up Stubborn Denial though. My Brawler enables Stubborn Denial. Let's just try to cast this. So now am I trying to play the Bowmasters game? I don't think so. just put immense pressure on my opponent. Sure. I think whenever I played the Wild Nakata, I committed to just a pure beatdown rather than trying to get cheeky with Bowmasters. So I don't want to give up the ability to play this Stubborn Denial. And technically I can double spell as well, like this. Can play the Leyline Binding when it matters. Timeless format has been interesting. So many different deck variations. So many different types of decks. Opponent is taking their time here. That's okay. It's probably a tight spot. They didn't fetch the Delta, so unless they want to get a basic island or a swamp, they'll have to take damage. No room for triomes or anything like that. Okay, does opt for a basic island. Okay, so he does go for the shock. Alright, opponent concedes. That was an interesting game to say the least. Wait, the game took too long and I won, but did not gain a spot, right? I was 1800 before going in. Just Mythic things. So the games have to be quicker if I ever wanted to climb forward. Okay, well maybe I should do that at some point. I thought I've already done this like years ago or something. I don't know. Okay, alright, so I said I would swap it up.
Is your rank. After each victory,
Why is this?
it'll improve. The competition can be fierce, but rewarding.
Don't know why
You'll earn
Sparky is
rewards
talking
based
there.
on your highest rank each.
Let's play a little straight up Geist combo.
After each victory, it'll improve.
Geist combo, again, I don't think the deck is great. It's not Necropotence. Necropotence is, or some form of Necropotence is just the best overall. But it's still extremely difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. I feel like many decks are just not packing the Shieldred's Edict, and even if they are, you have ways around it. Obviously, if you have it in hand, one, you could just have a couple of ley lines and have a backup Fragment Reality, or you could have a Slip Out the Back to protect it for a turn. Okay, you have to mulligan very liberally with the deck though, because obviously you have to have a 3 card combo in hand, right? Land, Fragment, Leyline. Okay, opponent taking some time on a decision. That's fine. I will, I mean, I've mulliganed down the 2 with this deck and win, so you mulligan down the 2, you pitch the land, you keep Fragment Leyline, and then you hope that you draw the land. So if there is a time to mulligan down to 2, it is whenever your opponent goes first, because then you have the benefit of the draw. And maybe you hit the land. We'll see. Okay, so we will have to mulligan here. To 5, to 4, to 3, and well, at least going to 2 minimum. Okay. Alright, so we did not see the combo at all. That's pretty unlikely to happen though, but is what it is. And yeah, you could just keep a hand of a ley line and hope you get really lucky. I'd rather not waste time though. Alright. Opponent is on the play yet again. And I will have to mulligan as well. Although you gotta be really careful, especially whenever you're on the play, or sorry, on the draw. Your opponent could have stubborn denials and anything to prevent you from winning the game. So we'll pitch a land here, and then one of the ley lines, probably, well, Ethereal Armor. I think we're going to need Ethereal Armor, so let's not get too greedy with the ley lines. So Void and Sanctity will keep us protected from any discard spells and from any mill shenanigans. Our opponent has played a blue land tap though, so I will go ahead, get rid of the ley line of Sanctity. I don't need the hexproof anymore, probably. And the ley line of the void's going to be better for any potential graveyard interactions, whatever they could have. It's generally just the better choice. Although breeding pool, no companion could be a lot of things. Okay, so I guess he just 2-mana cantripped. Happens. Alright, and take it or leave it, this is the deck, this is what we have. So 2 more turns, can my opponent beat it? Haven't seen any black yet, so I don't think Edict is anything to worry about. Okay, well, there is the black, so I do have to be worried about Liliana or Edict or something like that. It doesn't really stop me from playing any differently though. Like I'm obviously going to cast this Combat Research, and if I'm lucky, maybe I will get a slip out the back to protect from an Edict, and he doesn't play it on his turn, and I untap. Okay. Alright. No reason to not play the Sea Chrome Coast. Okay. Does my opponent have an effect? Does not? Okay, we'll take the win. Very nice. We'll continue with the Geist combo. It's a, you know, it's a fun deck if you like to dirtle and you like to just all in on turn 1. So if you're the kind of person that just likes to get the game done either way, it could be a fun deck to play. And here we have the combo in turn 1. So I'll definitely keep that. Now, something I'll say here though, Leyline of Combustion, don't sleep on it. Leyline of the Void, probably just the best one overall, but Leyline of Combustion can actually win you the game, particularly against the Tendrils decks. Because once they cast the Tendrils, all of those go on the stack, but each one is a separate spell that targets you, then all your Leyline goes on the stack, and you kill them before they kill you, and it's pretty funny. So I am going to go ahead and fetch first here. I have a slip out the back to keep me protected, so I feel pretty good about this game. But you can't get too ahead of yourself. I'll play the Arcane Flight. If they want to spell pierce, they can. Okay. Sometimes they may have a fatal push or something for the tokens to try to buy time. Or a stifle. That's a situation where it would have been really hard if I was on the play or on the draw, just because my opponent would have seen my ley lines, shocked in a breeding pool, and then I couldn't have done anything out of fear of a spell pierce. Right, if they don't have stifle, it's a 2-turn clock. Okay. Interesting. I kind of like the art. I kind of don't. It is cool though. I mean, I'll say it's cool. Like even if I don't. It's simple, very reminiscent of late 90s, early 2000s computer games, which is neat. Or just images in general. It's one of the strengths of Arena is there's plenty of basic land art styles. Okay, well, I don't really need lands, but I am just want to hold this one at this point. Okay. Alright, opponent has a 3rd stifle. That's all my opponent has played this game, has been stifles. Although they may have bought enough time. I mean, it depends on what type of deck they are, but... Okay. Slightly punished for holding the Hallowed Fountain, because I could have played Leyline of the Void this turn. I don't know if that will matter a whole lot. My opponent has the 4th stifle, good on them. Okay. I've lost many games like this before. And it resolves. Alright, yeah, did I did I just lose? Okay, so it's not an Omniscience. It's not an Omniscience, so I may be okay here because I can slip out the back the Atraxa. It depends on what my opponent has. Alright, so Omniscience there. Omniscience into Atraxa is a completely different story than just show and telling on Atraxa. Now, if my opponent has some other form of interaction here. Okay, so I think I'm alright. Let's get all my lands out here just in case. Do I even have to cast the slip out the back? So this isn't going to hurt just casting it. So now we have a 7/7 first strike. So if my opponent blocks with the tracks on the token, gains 7. Okay, well, I don't think my opponent needed to concede. They don't know I have a slip out the back necessarily, but I was going to slip out the back and win, so I'll take it. Play a few more Geist combos and see where that gets us. I'd like to get back into the top 1,000 tonight, even though tomorrow I'll just decay back to 99%. Was it you get a free qualifier or something? Free play-in? If you're in the top 1,200? I need to start taking advantage of that more if I can. I've always wondered just how popular Timeless as a format is. I've been enjoying it, honestly. However, maybe I should start playing Standard more. So I'll say this. It is Standard RCQ season. So a lot of folks might be on Arena Standard right now just for that reason. Yeah, we're playing against the same folks again, which is, I mean, fine by me, but... Okay, no land, no fragment. Fragment, protection, flight spell, 2 ley lines. Seems good, so I'll just toss the Flooded Strand. Now, we could just get... I forget what they're playing. Pay 2 life and pass turn. If they fetch here, I'll fragment. I don't quite remember what they were playing. I don't think it was a graveyard deck though. Maybe I'll maybe I'll be instantly punished for not remembering specifically what this person had. Keep this just because the chip damage, if they do target you with anything, can be applicable. If we get to untap here though, I feel okay about the game. Well, they're digging for a land. So maybe we have a whiff. No, they found it. So they're like Veil of Summer Me or something. I don't need the flight spell just yet, so I think I'm safe with the 3/3. I have Slip Out the Back for protection anyway. I'd rather start drawing the cards. Not sure what they could have, so I'm not going to cast the boon. Just rather leave up my protection spell. Okay, backup Geist is always nice to have, especially if we can hit a 3rd land at some point. Ah, Veil of Summer. Good days, M20. Alright, this is about the same time my opponent conceded to us last time. This is just a cool cycle of lands. Like, they're temples, but they scry. Like, you can fetch these up. Well, and Surveil, which I guess can arguably be pound for pound better than scry. Hello, is it Michael? Welcome. Okay, and we have a concession. They technically would have had another turn if they kept going, but... Hope you're having a good night, my friend. Alright, let's play a little more Geist. Alright, up against Richard. This is a new opponent, so we get to go first. We have the combo in hand. Okay, our opponent might be on the same thing. Some versions of the list, though, play Spell Pierce or something, so we'll go ahead and fragment now. Something that could benefit us is Sentinel Eyes, like having the Vigilance is actually very good in the mirror match, and so is Ethereal Armor. Okay, it's not a mirror match, though. So it has reach, so flying doesn't matter, so let's go ahead and just fetch up another Hollowed Fountain, and we'll play double spells here. Okay, opponent chooses to keep the Grazer alive. That is a fine play, because I could just play, like, next turn an Ethereal Armor or something. Alright, Michael, new player, started playing Magic about a year and a half ago, hit Diamond the second time, Human Soldiers, Orzhov, and Boros. Very nice, congratulations my friend, that's a really good accomplishment. It's really hard to get through Platinum and into Diamond, so good job there. Just keep at it and you'll be Mythic before you know it. I've been playing Magic for probably 10 years now or so, a little over that, 11 years maybe. There's not really a reason to not play my boon here. My opponent doesn't have a castle, so they don't have a Primeval Titan. Well, they may have a Primeval Titan in hand. They technically do not have a way to cast Primeval Titan. Okay. And now there's not much my opponent can do. They'll need a second creature with reach to survive another turn. Yeah, I hope you're liking Magic the Gathering. 2 versions of Human Soldiers. Yeah, the soldier deck's actually really good. What format are you playing? Are you playing Standard or Timeless, Historic, Explorer? Or are you playing Arena at all? You may just be playing with friends. What rank did that get me to? Still 99%? One of the first decks I did really well with at tournament-wise was a tokens deck. Let's see, what was it? It was an Orzhov deck, and it had the Extort ability. Extort, you got to gain 1 life, and your opponent lost 1 life. So it was a pretty cool ability. Okay, so I don't have the combo. I have the mulligan to 6. Combo here. So I'll keep this. I will throw away probably the mana confluence because I'll take more damage overall with that over the course of the game. So I'll keep the Flooded Strand just to fetch up the Hollowed Fountain. Wait, well, I have the same ley lines. I can just get rid of one of these ley lines. It's fine. Yeah, let's just get rid of a ley line. For some reason, I thought that was 2 different ley lines. Alright, so we'll start with that. Although the other ley line does make my Ethereal Armor slightly better, but I don't think there's really much cause to play it. And so this is everything. Next turn I'll Mana Confluence and Combat Research and Ethereal Armor, and hopefully that will be enough. Okay, now that I have a slip out the back, I'm just going to play my Combat Research to save this as a protection spell for my Geist. Play Arena, you're only playing Standard. Most fair format. Older formats are unfair. I don't know much about Brawl. I've never actually played Brawl. But yeah, I don't like the randomness either of it. So the older formats are very unfair. I'm playing Timeless right now. I mean, I just played a Geist of St. Traft on turn 1. I mean, I like doing it because I guess I'm more familiar with a lot of the cards. The reason I like playing with Geist is not because this deck is good. I actually don't think this deck is very good for this format. I think there's a lot of better decks you could be playing, but this was one of the cards that was very popular whenever I started playing about 10 years ago. There was a deck called Bant Hexproof, and it centered around Geist of St. Traft. So I think it's really cool to be able to play with one of those older cards that I liked when I started playing and get to do that on Arena. I think it's pretty neat. But no, I agree with you. Most of my Magic career has either been playing Standard or Modern. I actually would not mind a land here. Okay, opponent just concedes. Yeah, my hand was pretty good there. Yeah, I don't blame you for playing Standard though. I need to start playing more Standard because it's a Standard RCQ season. So if I want to play any paper Magic tournaments, I'll have to play Standard for the most part. We'll play a few more games with Geist combo, and then we'll probably change it up to something else. So is it just you that's been playing Arena? Do you play by yourself or do you play with your friends? Okay, so I'm on the draw. I unfortunately do not have a Leyline of Sanctity. I have the combo in turn 1, so I'm going to keep. But if my opponent has Thoughtseize or an Inquisition of Kozilek or something, then he takes my Fragment. Okay, well fortunately they're playing black, but I at least have time to go ahead and do my combo. Hey, thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Alright, my opponent will Bowmasters. Fortunately, I do have a flight spell though, so since I don't have a protection spell, I'm just going to play flight spell plus my combat research and start drawing some cards and hope it's enough. My opponent is mono black though, so you know they could just play Shieldred's Edict or Liliana of the Veil here, and I could just lose on the spot, which that happens with this kind of deck. It kind of comes with the territory. Okay, so they are a Necropotence deck. So many cards they're willing to draw. Okay, so, well, I have lethal in hand. That's 9 damage, so unless they have something special. Well, I have a lot more than lethal, actually. I think it was a little... So, the Ethereal Armor would have killed him regardless, but... well, him or her, but the Griff Spoon would have been enough there as well. So I think going to 9 was a little too bold. Only play Arena. Standard rank, also play with friends. Yeah, physical's pretty expensive. It's a really expensive hobby, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't quite like that. I am glad that Arena exists. It's just a cheaper, more economic option. I also like that you can actually play tournaments here too, you know, like they have the Arena Opens and you can you can qualify for a lot of tournaments through playing MTG Arena, which I think is really cool. And actually, speaking of tournaments, I get a draft token on my next level up. Cool. So what got you into Magic, if you don't mind me asking? Was it did you play card games when you were younger, like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or something, or were your friends playing Magic and you just got into it because it looked fun? For me, I was as a kid, I played a lot of Pokemon and a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh. So when I got older, Magic was just kind of something I gravitated to. Could not afford, yeah. That's what I assumed you meant. But yeah, it's a very expensive hobby, unfortunately. Okay, I get to go first, which is great. Don't have the combo in hand though. Now I do. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get rid of one of the lands. I'm going to get rid of this Flooded Strand, just because I have an Ethereal Armor, so having more ley lines is good, but also I no longer need the Ley Line of Sanctity since I'm on the play and I have my combo. So I'm going to get rid of that one. But now I have a backup fragment for my Ley Line of the Void if they kill my Geist here. Okay, so since I don't have a protection spell and I have a backup combo, I'm just going to play my Ethereal Armor on my Geist. It's possible they could have like a Spell Pierce or something. That's okay by me. But 8 damage per turn, we'll see what happens. Like the idea of collectible card games. Yeah, I agree with you completely. It's really cool to collect something, but also be able to use what you collect. I agree with you completely. And also the creativity of that as well. Something I read a long time ago here. Hold on, I got something pretty cool. Let me grab something. So it's kind of nerdy, but whenever I was learning how to play Magic a long time ago, Patrick Chapin, a professional player, has a couple of books, and I bought both of these. So this one, Next Level Magic, this is on just how to play Magic the Gathering well. And then this one here, Next Level Deck Building, this one's actually really good for learning how to build decks and the different types of decks, and also just kind of in general helps you become a more creative person, I think, when playing Magic the Gathering. You could probably find free versions of those online. It's a really old book now, but they're really cool. I bought them a good while ago. Alright, so my opponent doesn't have a Shieldred's Edict because he would have played it before my Angel trigger. He could have a Bowmaster's, or so I thought, maybe a removal spell for the token. Okay, I guess he just takes the damage. Alright, so now if my opponent does have like a Liliana to make me sacrifice the Geist, I have a Fragment Reality. Now, what I'm afraid of is they are going to Show and Tell into Omniscience into Atraxa, and then I cannot win the game. Yep, so Show and Tell. I'll put my Ley Line onto the board. They do have Omniscience. Now they'll play Atraxa. Or, well, I mean, they have to have something. Okay. So maybe my opponent, he's got to have something. All right, so my opponent is digging for spells. like the more expensive cards with cool abilities. So something like Omniscience, like it costs 10 mana to play, but you know, it lets you play things for free from your hand, which is pretty cool. This is a really absurd card, especially when you combo it with, you know, show and tell. In the older formats, like Legacy, for example, this deck is called Omnitel. Actually, it's called Omnitel here as well. Okay, so now he's going to Mastermind's Acquisition, and he can get anything he wants from outside the game. He probably has an Atraxa in his sideboard that he can get with that. Atraxa should fill up his hand. Or you could have something like this, 2 creature cards with different names, so now he'll get his Atraxa. The game technically isn't over, but it's very close to being over. So the Fae of Wishes, he can now use the adventure to get something else from outside the game, so he can get something else from his sideboard. Oh, okay, so now he'll start casting Approach the Second Suns. And if he has a second one... Okay, so now he Atraxas, gets the second Approach of the Second Sun, plays it again, and then wins the game. I'll let him complete the combo here just so we can see it. Unfortunately, I'll take a loss here. But the Omnitel deck, so if you're not playing a Necropotence deck in Timeless right now, the Omnitel decks are actually extremely good. Now he plays the second one, and I will lose automatically. They're cool decks. It's very susceptible though to a counter spell, so it's possible that I should maybe be playing a different version with Spell Pierce or something to try to counter the show and tell. So do you have a favorite expensive card? If I had to pick one, it's probably from Gate Crash. It's called Borborygmos. I think it's Borborygmos Enraged. There's a couple Borborygmos, but it's a pretty cool card. I think it costs like 8 mana. Alright, so I'm on the play. No combo. There's a combo. Get rid of the mana combos. Trax is a good example. Yeah, actually I was a couple of months ago, whenever I was playing a lot of Standard, I was I played against this guy a lot, Chalupacabra. But yeah, I was actually playing the Domain ramp decks. So you ramp into Atraxa, and it's a fun time. I like it. So here I have 2 slip out the backs. This could be a mistake, but I'm actually going to go into full control here. And so I'm going to go to damage while I hold full control. And then before the sacrifice trigger goes off, I'm going to slip out the back one of my angel tokens. And that way it doesn't have to get sacrificed. So it's effectively 1 mana for a 5/5 angel, which is insane. Now I'll exit full control. Oh, sorry. Okay. And now if they do have a removal spell for the Geist, it is what it is. Kabu is not going to do it though. Alright, so I don't think my opponent is going to have many removal spells. So he has a Gigantha, so I think he's just Domain Zoo. So I'm pretty safe here. So I am going to just go ahead and attack with the Geist to get the other angel. I'm going to enter full control here. And we'll go to damage again. And then before the trigger goes off, slip out the back. And now my opponent will have to deal with 2 lethal threats on his next turn. Now they might be able to, and maybe I messed up. However, they don't have any white mana, so this deck usually needs white mana to play the oh, what's it called? The 6 mana enchantment with flash that you can exile something. Vivian on the Hunt. So I know a lot of Vivians. Let me look that one up. Oh, the one from New Capenna. Okay, yeah. I won that game while Googling the Planeswalker. Okay, so 6 mana plus 2, you can sacrifice a creature. If you do, you search for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. That's pretty cool. So you actually get to go up another mana cost. You can mill 5 cards, put those into your hand. Oh, that's actually extremely good. Or you can make a Rhino, a 4/4 creature with -1. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty cool. I like that. Especially if you like tokens too. I mean, that's just a really cool way to play. I like it for the card advantage. You can just +1 and get a ton of cards into your hand. So I have packs. How many packs? Oh, I do have a few packs. World Soul's Rage. So green, red, X damage to any target, up to X land cards from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. That's interesting. And I have a March the Machine pack as well. Yargle. Okay. Wait a minute. Is this one of the expensive cards that you would build around? It's not too expensive. It's only 6. That's a very interesting card though, an 18/6 Frog Spirit Elemental. I don't know if that's like nuts or if this is just so silly, but it seems like a cool card. Deck plays 25 creatures so you can draw a lot of cards. Yeah, sounds like it. +1, draw up to 5 cards. That seems actually pretty nuts. Alright, well, I have not seen that 18/6. That is... that's pretty nuts. Alright, let's keep circling back with the Geist combo for a few more games, though. I like some other cool stuff. Big creature wise, I like pretty much any Ulamog. The Ulamogs are very cool. Blightsteel Colossus, those things are really neat. Okay, so here I have Fragment, but I don't have a Leyline. Okay, this is good. So I'm on the play, so I don't need a Leyline of Sanctity really. So I'll just mulligan away or bottom one of the Leylines here. Do you prefer to play Planeswalker decks as well? I enjoy Planeswalker decks. We call them Super Friends decks, and they're actually really cool. I played a few of those in the past. Played like a, I think it was Esper Super Friends. That was a long time ago, but it's a really fun deck. Played Tameo. Oh, and what's the blue-black Planeswalker? Played Jace, obviously. Back then, it also played the, we call it the baby Jace. It's the 0/2 flip Planeswalker. So you tap it to draw and discard looting. So you tap it to loot, and then you get to flip the Jace to get the Planeswalker side of it. It's pretty cool. Play with a lot of creatures and Planeswalker support. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I played one of my first tournament decks ever was around the time of Return to Ravnica, the first Return to, well, I guess the second Ravnica, but I think it was around 2013, 2014 or so. Return to Ravnica was in Standard, and I played a deck called Jund Monsters, and Jund Monsters was like that. It was mostly a green-red creature deck. You did play a little bit of black for some removal and some good sideboard cards, but it was a creature deck, and it played 2 planeswalkers, Domri Raid and Xenagos, and Domri Raid was nuts. It's a 3-mana planeswalker, so like turn 1 you play an Elvish Mystic, and then turn 2 you play a Domri Raid, and it just felt so good to be able to play a planeswalker on turn 2 like that. A lot of great memories with that deck. Got to play Stormbreath Dragons and Pelucranos. Well, I don't need it to have flight just yet, so I mean, my opponent's going to block anyway. Oh, okay, so he chose to let me draw a card rather than take a point extra. Okay, land is actually pretty good. I'm actually not going to play an extra enchantment this turn because they are black. Just in case they have a Sheoldred's Edict or something, I don't want to put all of my enchantments on this creature. So we know they have an Environmental Science. I feel like a deck that plays Eye Twitch is going to play Sheoldred's Edict. 120 cards. Alright. Go ahead and fetch this. I won't pay the 2 life though. Just have that enter tapped. Okay, so now it dies, draft a card, so we're not going to give him the opportunity to block. Draw a card. Alright, and same thing as last turn. I don't need any additional pressure, so I'm not going to play another enchantment. So we'll see if my opponent has a Liliana or something like that. Okay. Well, he already played a land for turn, so no Liliana. You pasted your Orzhov deck on my last video? Yeah, it's been a while since I put out a video actually. I'm just getting back into... I was moving and doing a whole lot of other stuff, so yeah, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it. Actually, if you give me just a moment, I'll take a look at it here. Alright, and we walk away with another win. So I'm not 100% on every standard card. I haven't seen like a lot of the new set murders at Karlov Manor. So I have to, may have to look up a few cards, but I'm more than happy to take a look. Alright, let me pull that up. Assume you put it in the comment section. All right, let's take a look. All right, so you got 2 Blood Pact, 4 Myral. So okay, the Myral I really like. That card's just insane. Got the Coppercoat Vanguards, the Guardians. Okay, so the Guardians of New Benalia is like just having the option for indestructible is really good. But you get to scry, or you can also give it indestructible, which is actually pretty insane. Like that in standard, that can shut down just a lot of decks by itself. Valiant Veterans, cut downs, restorations, Kaya Spirits. Oh, that's the Planeswalker Kaya. Okay. Lauren's Escape, 9 Swamps, Infernal Grasps, Shattered Sanctum. I forgot what that one did. Is that the modular land? Oh, it's not the modular. Okay, that's just the dual land. And I don't know what the Dauntless General does. March of the Machine was an interesting set. Alright, so human soldiers, whenever it enters the battlefield, exile their graveyard. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, you can sack it and give your humans hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. That's pretty sweet. The Moon Sage and then Outrageous Robbery. But alright, yeah, let me... And this way we can actually look at it together. Do I not have any of these? I feel like I definitely had these. Because I played a fair amount of mono white soldiers for a while. Maybe not. Alright, so I'm not... Again, I haven't played Standard in a couple of months. Since the new set came out, I haven't played Standard, so I'm not really that familiar with it. But a couple of things. So, all right, let's look at the land count. So, 21, 23, 25. Nashi's your new favorite card. Yeah, Ninjutsu's actually really cool. Yeah, I like that. So it's almost like a standard Ragavan. Pay life equal to its mana rather than paying its mana cost. So instead of getting a treasure token, you can pay life. But no, I mean, that's actually a really cool source of card advantage. I mean, the downside is obviously you pay 4 mana for a 3 mana creature. But it, you know, effectively giving it flash and almost guaranteeing that it deals damage is actually really good. So I guess, are you playing this more in... It doesn't have a sideboard. Are you playing in best of 1 or best of 3? Oh, 1239. I did get out of 99%. I'll assume it's best of 1s, but if it's not, definitely correct me. I think in best of 1, it's actually really good. Best of 1 rank standard, and that's what you hit diamond with. Yeah, okay, very cool. What are you playing against on the ladder? Are you playing up against a lot of other soldier decks or mono red or something like that too? I would think the deck is very good against mono red. You have cut downs and enough removal, plus you have the Guardian of Benalia, which the indestructible on that is actually really hard for a red deck to deal with. Oh, keep 5. My opponent's mulliganing a lot. Makes me feel like they are also playing Geist. Ah, okay. So my opponent may have kept his mulligan to 3. So my opponent's definitely on Geist combo as well. Hopefully... Oh, did they hit the land? They drew the land because they have the fragment. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you gotta do that. I mean, it happens. Alright, so I'm not going to cast my combat research. Instead, I'm going to... The mirror match is all about the race, and I need to take advantage of being on the play, so I want to go in the full control. And slip out the back my token. And that should be pretty hard for the opponent to catch up. Alright, go out of full control. Yeah, you have to have fun while you're playing. That's the... I think a lot of people when they're trying to climb really lose sight of that. You always have to have fun, no matter what. Okay, now I'm going to Ethereal Armor to give first strike. If he has a Spell Pierce, that's fine. I think I'd rather have the combat research anyway. So see, like, this is a version of the deck that plays Spell Pierce, so they probably have a better win rate against, like, the Necropotence decks. I'm just going to attack here, because he'll have to block one of these, and he won't be able to trade with my Geist. Alright, good game. So you do have a lot of synergies. I lost to this card one time. I lost to this card. So I bought the pre-release packs, and it came with a sealed token for Murders at Karlov Manor. This card came out in that set, right? That's what that set symbol is, I believe. But my opponent played Kaya from their... They opened it in their 6 sealed packs, and I lost to this. Like, man, the luck on that guy. But it is a cool card, though. I like it. It's a lot of text. When one or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put into exile, you choose a creature card from among them. At the end of turn, target token becomes a copy of it, except it has flying. So +2, you can essentially transform one of your creatures. Oh, you posted another one? Okay, let me take a look at it. Oh, I think I accidentally copied. Hold on. I accidentally copied your name on YouTube. There we go. I think it's cool they brought Crystal Grotto back. I remember having one of these and thinking it was the coolest thing because it was a pretty old card, and then they reprinted it. All right, so first of all, I will say I have lost to this card right here many times. I have lost the copied Obnix list. Like you get 2 Planeswalkers. So this card's extremely good, and I've lost to it several times, so I really enjoy it. I haven't played it myself. Obviously, I don't have any. But Rakdos is just cool. But yeah, I've I've lost to this many times. So you said you wanted me to rate the decks. I mean, this deck right here, just because I think Rakdos just has insane card quality. I mean, you get to play some really neat stuff here. You get some cool toys like the Obnixilis, the Lord Skitter Sewer King. I mean, just making rats is pretty cool by itself. You get some flavor as well. You got Lord Skitter, and you have Lord Skitter's Butcher, which I think is pretty neat. And you get card synergy because you can sacrifice any of the tokens, obviously, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've seen this one. 3 mana, 3/3 toxic 1. Oh, you can give your rats toxic 1. Put any of the rats into your hand. So how many rats? Oh wait, Nashi is a rat ninja. I forgot completely that Nashi is a rat ninja. That just like completely slipped my mind. Like the Florian. Beginning of your post-combat main phase, top X cards of your library. Exile 1, put the rest at the bottom. Let me play the exile card. Yeah, that is cool. I think like just with this, I mean, being heavy on 3-drops makes a lot of sense for Rakdos, I think, at least right now, just because so many of your powerhouses are at 3 mana. And then you have like this rat tribal thing going on too, which is pretty sweet. I like it. So if I had to rate the decks, I mean, I think, just my opinion, I think the first deck, the Orzhov humans or the Orzhov soldiers deck, I think that one's probably like, for standard, that one's probably like a good 8 or a 9 out of 10. Like I would probably put that one as a tier 1 deck, or if not tier 1, tier 1.5, but I think it's up there. I think it's competitive with the tier 1 decks. This one here, I think is, I don't know, what's your success been with this deck? Have you been playing this one, the Rakdos deck on in ranked? Honestly, I think just in terms of overall fun, the Rakdos deck gets a 10 out of 10. Like for me personally, I think the Rakdos deck would be a lot more fun to play than the Soldiers one. The Soldiers deck is fun too. Or the Orzhov deck is fun too. Don't get me wrong. I actually played a deck very similar to that. Well, I played more of like a mono white version. But I also played, I dabbled in a little bit of Orzhov and a little bit of Azorius Soldiers as well. In the past couple of months. Nothing wrong with those decks at all, but the Rakdos deck I think would just be a lot more fun for me to play personally. The Rat Tribal is kind of cool, but also at the same time just being able to play with the Obnixilis and play 2 Planeswalkers at the same time is absurd. Alright, playing against Chupacabra again. This guy is consistently in the top couple hundred. He's really grinding it out. so fortunately we have Ethereal Armor, which is going to combo nicely with our ley lines. Alright, and, well, I have lethal here, unless my opponent has an answer. Alright, opponent's choosing not to attack. Alright, that's still going to be lethal because of Ley Line of Combustion, so that's why you keep the Ley Line of Combustion. We're not in the top 1,000, we're close though. Oh, I did get my, I have 3 draft tokens, wow. I did draft a little bit of murders, but I didn't really enjoy murders as a draft set. Give your best deck? Yeah. If you wanna put it back in the comments, I'll go take a look at it after this game. Fragment Leyline on the play, seems good to me. Against the Lurrus. Well, unfortunately we don't have a second ley line. I would really like to keep this ley line of the void against the Lurrus deck, but just how it goes. Put the deck in? Okay, cool. Take a look at it as soon as this game is done. My opponent is debating on what to do with his brainstorm. Okay, I'm going to play combat research first to draw more cards. I'm going to hold my slip out the back for protection. And we'll draw some cards. Alright, and we have lethal next turn with Ethereal Armor. Okay. And then if they like spell pierce or something, we'll just play the second one. What do they have? They have just another draw spell? Do they have like an unsummon or something like that for my token? I assume it's just another brainstorm or something, but... I think my opponent may have quit the game, unfortunately. If I crack top 1000 here, I'll make this my last game, and then we'll take a look at your deck. Then I'll probably tune out for the night though. Yeah, I think they quit the game. Should be 9 damage. GG. Alright, top 1000. Oh, 1009. Okay, alright. Let's take a look at the deck and then we'll play one more. And we'll try to crack the top 1000 or so. Give it one more shot. Alright. Pulling that up now, my friend. Give me just a second. Alright, I already like the way it looks. So the Golgari decks I know are extremely good. I've seen a lot of the Glissa. This card's just insane. 3 mana, first strike, and death touch. It's not often you can come across something that can go toe to toe with a Graveyard Trespasser, first of all. And then it can't really be blocked because of first strike, death touch, and so you're almost guaranteed to get value out of this card here. Doesn't die to cut down, so it's insane. The Outrageous Robbery it's been an interesting card. I've seen a lot of people play this one. Anytime you see decks playing X in their mana costs, it's pretty cool. I really like it. But you're playing a lot of bigger things here. So you have the Invasion to help you ramp. You have some other stuff like Armored Scrap Gorger to help you ramp as well. And then looks like you are ramping into some things. Silverback Elder, I like. Your Vivian, Titan of Industry, a Galta. I mean, that's the ideal. Yeah, the Vivian really shines here. I think it's really cool. So you said this is your best deck? Like, do you think this is your best performing deck, or this is the deck you like the most? I could see it going anyways. I mean, you have a lot of really good card quality here. I mean, you have Cut Downs, Infernal Grasp, so you have really solid removal. You have Glissa and you have Liliana. The Pig for 3, the Vorak. 3 mana, 3/3, ETBs, top 4, reveal a land, put it into your hand, rest on the bottom. If you didn't put a card in your hand, proliferate. Best performing and most fun. This is actually really cool. Maybe I'll give this a try soon. I remember I pulled one of these Aklazats. I'm not sure how to say the name. I opened one of these in a draft. And it was one of the first drafts of that set. I think that's Ixalan, right? One of my first 7-win drafts. Mostly because of this card. I got really lucky when I opened it, and I kept drawing it. Really hard to get rid of because you keep transforming it. But I like this. I mean, I really like the big cards, Cityscape Leveler. I mean, I'm even playing this in Modern Tron. Like I have some Cityscape Levelers in my deck in Paper Magic. Galta is really cool. I guess Galta is like one of your ideal targets, right? You just Galta into any of these threats. But this is actually really sick. I might have to give that a shot here very soon. All right. I'll give it another game. We'll see if I can break the top 1000 here. Maybe I'll try for another rank 1 grind. I'm consistently able to get Mythic, but last year at some point I went for a rank 1 grind and I did end up hitting rank 1 eventually. Alright, so 1... we need the evade. The combat research is arguably better than Griff Spoon, but we need the evasion in case they play something to block. And we'll keep these 4. At least we're on the play. Yeah, anytime. Anytime. It's actually a lot of fun because I have a tendency to, as I've played more Magic and gotten better, there's a downside to that. And the downside is oftentimes you're just looking at what decks are performing really well, or what decks are winning the most, or what decks you can climb the fastest with on Arena, or just get the most games in on Arena. Like there was a stretch like 2 years ago that I just played like all mono red for like 2 months, and don't get me wrong, I like aggressive decks, but playing all mono red for that long just because I could maximize the number of wins in Arena, it just wasn't very fun. Yeah, I'm about to finish up turn 2, or sorry, turn 3 right here. So it really depends. Like if I'm playing paper Magic, I would not want to play Timeless. I would consider playing Legacy paper Magic. I mean, even Modern these days, you can finish a game on turn 3. I mean, technically there's some combo decks you could finish turn 2 with a very lucky draw. But turn 3 is 100% possible with most Modern decks. And that's, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, they've really tried to make Modern like how Legacy used to be. Mostly I think that's some ban list kind of stuff. Okay, so unfortunately my opponent will live at 1 life with a show and tell. Hopefully it's just an Atraxa. I can beat an Atraxa, but if this is going to be an Omniscience, then I can't beat it. I'll go ahead and put my Griff Spoon onto the battlefield. It was an Omniscience. We'll see what they have, but they can now Fae of Wishes for Approach of the Second Sun. Atraxa. So I'm going to let him go through the motions here because he will need that Fae of Wishes to get the approach to combo kill me. If he doesn't have it, I can slip out the back the Atraxa to win. So I'm not 0% to win here, but I'm very close to 0% to win here. You play Standard from like 2019? I'd play Standard from like 2014. that was so fun. A lot of people didn't like Siege Rhino, but I mean, I played Siege Rhino decks. I played mono red decks that lost to Siege Rhino. Like there's just a lot of things to play back then. And the format was kind of settled, you know, like after a few months, everybody just played the same deck. You either played Abzan aggro, Abzan control, mono red, mono black, red green monsters, Jund monsters. Like most people played within those decks, mono blue devotion, mono black devotion, mono red devotion. Like you had all those different types of decks, which were really cool. It was pretty sweet. I loved it. Standard from 2019, I played a lot of on Arena, but nothing really in paper. Okay, alright, and there's the approaches. He has approach plus another Atraxa in hand, so I will go ahead and concede here. Alright, unfortunately I didn't break the top 1,000. Is there something about 2019 Standard that you really liked? Is that just what you're familiar with, or is there something from that time period that you enjoyed? 2019 wasn't bad. Once you got into 2020, 2021, things really started getting bad in Standard. Like cards were absurd. You had Oko, like for example. Actually, you had Oko in like 2019. You had the Bant Food deck, which was absolutely absurd. Like pretty much all the top decks were Bant Food, and then they had the Bant Oko. Turn 1 Gilded Goose and the turn 2 Oko was absolutely insane, and everybody was doing it. Hydroid Crisis to restock your hand. That was an interesting time. Although, if there was one good thing I had fun during that format was when they brought cycling back, and I loved playing red white. Well, it was technically 5-color cycling because you played black cards, blue cards that had cycling, whatever, but the cards that you actually played were mostly red white, so it's kind of like Boros cycling. And it had like a combo finish. It was a 4-mana card that dealt damage based on how much you had cycled. I forget specifically how it worked, but it was really fun. Mimicking older standards instead of playing modern. Yep, I gotcha. Okay, that's weird. Draw. Thanks. I guess I sat through queue for a draw. Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be cool too. I mean, I think that'd be... One, it's a really cool way to learn cards. There's just a ton of cards from Magic history that I have no idea. And they might be bad cards, right? Like, you know, most cards in Magic are kind of bad, right? But I think it'd be pretty sweet to get to play some of those and play them in the format where they made sense. Alright, well, I would like to get rid of the Ley Line of Lightning, just because it makes playing online miserable. I have to click my opponent every time I play something. But I have 2 Ley Line of the Void, so I'll exile one of those instead. Alright, this is everything I have. Hopefully, I was hoping to draw like an Ethereal Armor or something. Okay. It's the only one it's attacking. I'll go ahead and fetch this. And I'll auto pay to ping them for 1. Ley Line of Lightning, I've actually won a couple of games like this with Ley Line of Lightning. Alright, dead next turn unless they have something. Okay. Alright, I really wanted to break top 1000 before I went to bed, so I think I have one more chance to do that. This is going to be this is going to be my last game, win or lose. So with your buddies, you play on Arena and you just play the cards from that time period. Yeah, that's really fun. So unfortunately, so I have friends that play Magic. None of my close friends play Magic. Not really. Like they know how to play, but they're not like me. Like they're not competitive people, or they don't even like to play Magic for fun. Like it's very rare they will ever play Magic. Now, if I go to like my local game store, or I go to a paper tournament, I have people there I would consider friends, and we talk about Magic, but it's usually just competitive stuff. It's, you know, they would not be interested in something like that, which is unfortunate because I think that's actually a lot of fun to play Magic like that. Okay, so I need to return 2 cards. I only have 1 land, so I'll return the replacement Geist, and I only need 1 Ley Line. Hopefully no Inquisition. Okay, Phoenix Chick I can deal with. Maybe, I don't know, they could be fast enough. I do have Sentinel Eyes though. Let's go ahead and fragment my Ley Line of the Void. Sentinel Eyes can be extremely good into mono red. I do have to be careful though. I don't like shocking this in, but I'm going to do it. Alright, I don't think Monastery Swift Spear will get big enough to kill my Geist. That would be too many cards to cast. Although if my opponent attacks with Swift Spear here, I may not block that. Alright, and with any luck, I may break the top 1,000 here. Opponent seems to be on... I've seen a few... Usually people don't play mono red in Timeless, but I've seen a few of these builds pop up. I think if you wanted to play a deck like this, the Jund Luris decks are just the better options. I was going to play some Jund Luris today, but actually this just ended up being a little bit better. Okay, did I break the top 1,000? Hey, look at that. There we go. Alright, well, that was my goal for the day. Actually, this is, today's the first day I got my stream set up. Like, I got my computer set up, my lights, my camera, everything like that. My girlfriend helped me get everything set up. She was very kind. But I hope to be streaming more and making more videos now too. So I'm going to head to bed here soon. Michael, thank you so much for joining. Hey, I would love to play some games with you. Absolutely, anytime. Actually, can you? I would say you can add me on Arena. I don't know how. I have like 2 friends on Arena just because most of my friends don't play, but... Like there is a friend, but yeah, there it is. But if you want to send me your display name, you can send it to me like in a PM or something, or you have mine here, KingMac29866. If you want to put mine into Arena, I'll gladly add you as a friend, and we can definitely play some games anytime. Sent the request. Does it... I'll make sure I get it. You know how long it takes? Do I have to restart? Oh wait, there it goes. Alright, there we go, my friend. Alright, thank you so much. Anytime I'm on, we can definitely play some games, alright? I'm going to go to bed though. I really appreciate you tuning in and talking to me and subscribing. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful night or day, wherever it is you are at, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much.